Learn how you can use the Capacity Metrics app in Fabric along with cost management in Azure to manage your SQL database and Fabric capacity consumption. This week on Data Exposed. Hi, I'm Anna Hoffman, and welcome to this episode of Data Exposed. Today, I'm joined once again by Amar, a product manager on the SQL team. Amar, thanks so much for coming back.
Really happy to be here, Anna.
Happy to have you. And today we're going to be continuing our discussion about SQL database in Fabric and the capacity model. And this week, we're going to take it one step or maybe two steps deeper. So what are we going to cover today?
Oh, Anna, we're going to cover something really cool. So we're going to start with understanding how to monitor your capacity for the usage that the capacity resources are taking under your SQL database in Fabric. And then you're going to tie it to the cost analysis side of cost management on Azure. So what you're going to do is be able to identify all the bottlenecks for your resources, like which resource is consuming the most amount of resource, and then tie it to the value it adds for your business by watching it through the spend you have on Azure portal. So you'll be looking at usage monitoring and also looking at how it ties to cost and spend.
Awesome, cool. Let's get right into it.
Sounds good. You have two elements to capacity metrics. You have the compute element. So essentially, I think we talked about this in the last episode. It's about capacities being structured under a tenant and capacities having multiple workspaces, and then each workspace having multiple artifacts or databases in this case. So all of these consume resources. And our goal should always be, when we're monitoring capacity, you should always look for efficiency, for performance, and for optimization. So that's what we're trying to do through this metrics app dashboard. We're looking through all of this and be able to look at trend and see like how you can get more optimized. Similarly with storage, you're looking at how much storage your workspaces are consuming and then how they are being billed by sending that storage information to the billing meters. So that's essentially what we'll cover. And let's dive into the scenario with a quick demo. So essentially, this is the Capacity Metrics app that we have. And you'll see that the admins have access to all of the capacities under the tenant. So essentially, I'm just going to go and see if I can toggle to the right capacity here by just moving my cursor to be able to toggle and select the right capacity for myself. There, after I select the capacity that's relevant for me, the metric ribbon app right below it will, and all of the other elements of the dashboard will sort of change accordingly. And each element on the metric app will give me the compute consumed by my SQL database. So essentially, for best practice, I will just select one point in time, and you will see how the items dashboard below just changes everything according to that point in time, and so does the utilization graph. But as I hover around things and I hover around the items, I will notice that when I hover it around an artifact or a database, I should be able to look at all of the compute consumed by my SQL database here. I just go to my item name and look at the right sort of artifact I want to monitor. And there, I see my SQL usage associated with my database. So that's the compute that it's consuming. And it's important to tie this to my overall utilization based on the SKU or the CU that I have purchased. And so I will go to the utilization side of it on the top right corner and calculate my CU percentage, which is nothing but my CU used by total CU bought based on the SKU I have purchased. And then there are two elements here, the interactive and the background operations. Mostly for SQL, you will have interactive operations, and that's represented by this red graph here, and that's smoothed over 5-minute duration. And then you have the background operations, which is represented in blue and smoothed over a 24-hour duration. So, as you look at trends, it's important for users and admins to understand how they're looking at trends and planning for the right amount of capacity they're purchasing. And then if I want to look at time point details, I just select a time point, and then look to explore what options it have in terms of the operations that are being processed. Again, for best practice, we've just tuned it to 30-second duration so that admins can make decisions on throttling and smoothing. Here, I'm able to see how much capacity is actually being utilized over a period of time and based on the SKU that I have purchased as well. And then you'll also see these two sort of sections here on interactive and background operations that will show up for my SQL database in Fabric. It's kind of cool view for you to understand your overall compute usage as well. So if you move on to storage side of things, here, I would just select the right capacity again for myself. The date range I will select that corresponds to my time frame in which my storage is being sent for billing. And then on the experience slider, I'll just select the SQL DB experience for me, because in this case, we're just looking at SQL side of things. And then you'll see the storage items table below will change accordingly. And then you'll see there are 2-3 different tiles here. The tile that we have on current storage represents the total amount of storage that we have used so far. And then the billable amount of storage is how much storage you're actually going to send to your billing meters for billing. That's an average of that. And then you have all of these different elements that are showing you on your storage table. And then you'll see that there are two sides to it. One is the status that represents if it's an active storage or a deleted storage. And then you have building type. And that's important to know if it's on preview or trial or if it's actually being billed to the customer. And then you have these two different graphs below. The one on the left is capacity metrics that shows the total capacity consumed over a period of time. And the one on the right here is the billable storage, which shows the sum of fractional billable quantities sent to storage for your billing. So overall, it provides a comprehensive view to customers to look at how my databases are consuming capacity on storage as well, and then how they are sent to storage for billing and to the billing meters as well.
Awesome. This is super cool. It seems very comprehensive of, the different things you might want to look at to make sure you really get a good understanding of like where the capacity is going and where your costs are coming from. So it makes a ton of sense. One question I have for you, maybe this is a silly question, but like this looks like a very advanced Power BI report. Is this something custom that people have to go build, or like how do they get access to this?
So it's actually installed on your workspace. So once you've installed it, you should show all of these like you talked about, like advanced reporting features enabled for you. And then you can go and customize the view as well. There are some features there where you can select and add columns to whatever you want to see for your workspace or your capacity. So there's some room to sort of do that. But it should be sort of part of your workspace and installed, and that's how customers can get access to it.
Got it. Awesome. I think everyone is wiping their brow like, woo, I don't have to go build this. I can just build on top of it if I want to.
Absolutely.
Super cool. Okay, so this is how I manage my capacity or monitor my capacity usage. Like, what else should I be looking at?
So once you know how to monitor your capacity, I think something cool that you could do and that we want to show here, it's a pre-built sort of functionality that exists within Azure, but then see how you can sort of tie it with capacity usage. That's cost analysis. So you want to be making smarter decisions on how your resources are being allocated, right? That it's being allocated to the applications that are the most value to your business. How are you able to see that? You see the usage for them in Capacity Metrics app, but you're also able to see the spend for them. And what we're going to do here today is look at, like, under cost management, how do I look at the resources that are actually contributing most to my spend, and how do I sort of adjust my budget and just be preemptive about managing my budget. So it's going to be an entire end-to-end experience of sort of cost monitoring apart from capacity monitoring that we're going to get into.
Cool. Okay, let's take a look.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at the demo here. Essentially what we've done is selected a few capacities under cost management, cost analysis tab. And all of those capacities are nothing but resources. And once I've selected them, there are about 6 that I've selected. I see that the overall cost is somewhat low. In total, it's $48. But I also see that daily costs are like $1.68, but it's pretty flat over a period of time. So one of the indicators that I get is my capacities are probably underutilized. So when I would want to make a decision that if it's underutilized, I would go back to Capacity Metrics app, look at why it's underutilized, and make the decisions to allocate and optimize all of my resources there, and then come back here. Once I've done that, I'll see that there's a steady ramp to my utilization. It's grown, it's being optimal. But then what I want to do is make sure that as my overall usage and my costs are increasing, I'm able to monitor and keep close tabs on it. So what I'll do is I'll create a budget and I'll try to trigger alerts if my capacity usage and my costs are approaching that limit. So what I'll do is I'll just go under budget and then mention my email ID where I want to generate alerts. I'll also try to set a budget and try to see like what percentage of the budget I really care about. In this case, it's $500. So when it approaches $450, I want to know about it. I'll create that alert here and it'll be set up for me. So essentially what you've done is you've tied your budget here. I'm looking at my monthly sort of budget that I have for my enterprise. And if it's whatever it is, in this case, it was $450, at least I get preemptive about it. And then I know if it's underutilized, I can go to Capacity Metrics app and just optimize the entire sort of experience there. So this way, you know that you can not only monitor your capacity, but the action thing here is you can actually make sure it correlates to your spend and then come back, optimize your resources, and then make sure that your spend is appropriate based on the budget that you have.
Cool. I love that. It's a super interesting technique of leveraging the tools in Azure for cost management to manage your Fabric capacity. And I think it's kind of a good reminder that, like, at the end of the day, this is all just running in Azure, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's why you can get some of these management things in Azure for Fabric. Super cool. As we close, any final tips or tricks for folks who are kind of getting into this world of managing capacity and watching their costs?
No, I think it's super exciting that SQL Database in Fabric actually is part of this capacity sort of model that we have for Fabric. And now that it is part of that, like, getting familiarized with what capacities mean is super important. Once you know that, if you tried to do that in our previous episode, you should also know how to use these different tools. Like Capacity Metrics app will give you a good handle on how to monitor your capacity, and then cost analysis will help you how to correlate it with your budget. So I think getting familiarized and knowing what to do and will help businesses and enterprises a lot to manage their capacity and manage their budget and spend on that capacity.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks so much, Amar. I learned a lot. I'm sure our viewers learned a lot as well. To our viewers, if you like this episode, go ahead, give it a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. We'll link to the first episode in case you wanted to take a look at it again. And we hope to see you next time on Data Exposed.